work?
Yeah, and Ellie joined this class today.
She just messaged me and she said that she's not able to join today because of suddenly she had a conference call. So I think we can just do the discussion and then I'll send her the recording.
Okay.
Okay, did you have a chance to watch the video?
No, I'm too busy.
You're too busy?
Recently. Yeah.
Okay. Then I guess we could watch it now. It's very short and then we can move on to some of the discussion questions.
Okay.
So let's see. So this video is about how every kid needs a champion. Okay, start.
I have spent my entire life either at the schoolhouse, on the way to the schoolhouse, or talking about what happens in the schoolhouse. Both my parents were educators. My maternal grandparents were educators. And for the past 40 years, I've done the same thing. And so needless to say, over those years, I've had a chance to look at education reform from a lot of perspectives. Some of those reforms have been good. Some of them have been not so good. And we know why kids drop out. We know why kids don't learn. It's either poverty, low attendance, negative peer influences. We know why. But one of the things that we never discuss, or we rarely discuss, is the value and importance of human connection. Relationships. James Comer says that no significant learning can occur without a significant relationship. George Washington Carver says all learning is understanding relationships. Everyone in this room has been affected by a teacher or an adult. For years, I have watched people teach. I have looked at the best and I've looked at some of the worst. A colleague said to me one time, they don't pay me to like the kids. They pay me to teach a lesson. The kids should learn it. I should teach it. They should learn it. Case closed. Well, I said to her, you know, kids don't learn from people they don't like. She said, that's just a bunch of hooey. And I said to her, well, your year is going to be long and arduous, dear. Needless to say, it was. Some people think that you can either have it in you to build a relationship or you don't. I think Stephen Covey had the right idea. He said you ought to just throw in a few simple things, like seeking first to understand as opposed to being understood. Simple things like apologizing. You ever thought about that? Tell a kid you're sorry, they're in shock. I taught a lesson once on ratios. I'm not real good with math, but I was working on it. And I got back and looked at that teacher edition. I taught the whole lesson wrong. So I came back to class the next day and I said, look, guys, I need to apologize. I taught the whole lesson wrong. I'm so sorry. I said, that's okay, Miss Pearson. You were so excited. We just let you go. I have had classes that were so low, so academically deficient that I cried. I wondered, how am I going to take this group in 9 months from where they are to where they need to be? And it was difficult. It was awfully hard. How do I raise the self-esteem of a child and his academic achievement at the same time? One year I came up with a bright idea. I told all my students, you were chosen to be in my class because I am the best teacher and you are the best students. They put us all together so we could show everybody else how to do it. One of the students said, really? I said, really? We have to show the other classes how to do it. So when we walk down the hall, people will notice us. So you can't make noise. You just have to strut. And I gave him a saying to say, I am somebody. I was somebody when I came. I'll be a better somebody when I leave. I am powerful and I am strong. I deserve the education that I get here. I have things to do, people to impress, and places to go. And they said, yeah. You say it long enough, it starts to be a part of you. And so I gave a quiz, 20 questions. Student missed 18. I put a +2 on this paper and a big smiley face. He said, Miss Pearson, is this an F? I said, yes. He said, then why'd you put a smiley face? I said, because you on the roll. You got 2 right, you didn't miss them all. I said, and when we review this, won't you do better? He said, yes, ma'am, I can do better. You see, -18 sucks all the life out of you. +2 said, I ain't all bad. For years, I watched my mother take the time at recess to review, go on home visits in the afternoon, buy combs and brushes and peanut butter and crackers to put in her desk drawer for kids that needed to eat, and a washcloth and some soap for the kids who didn't smell so good. See, it's hard to teach kids who stink. And kids can be cruel. And so she kept those things in her desk, and years later, after she retired, I watched some of those same kids come through and say to her, you know, Miss Walker, you made a difference in my life. You made it work for me. You made me feel like I was somebody when I knew at the bottom I wasn't. And I want you to just see what I've become. And when my mama died 2 years ago at 92, there were so many former students at her funeral. It brought tears to my eyes, not because she was gone, but because she left a legacy of relationships that could never disappear. Can we stand to have more relationships? Absolutely. Will you like all your children? Of course not. And you know your toughest kids are never absent. Never. You won't like them all, and the tough ones show up for a reason. It's the connection, it's the relationships. And while you won't like them all, the key is they can never, ever know it. So teachers become great actors and great actresses, and we come to work when we don't feel like it, and we listen to policy that doesn't make sense, and we teach anyway. We teach anyway because that's what we do. Teaching and learning should bring joy. How powerful would our world be if we had kids who were not afraid to take risks, who were not afraid to think, and who had a champion? Every child deserves a champion, an adult who will never give up on them, who understands the power of connection and insists that they become the best that they can possibly be. Is this job tough? You betcha. Oh God, you betcha. But it is not impossible. We can do this. We're educators. We're born to make a difference. Thank you so much.
Learning how to effectively share your best ideas creates.
Okay. Very interesting here. So talking about every child deserves a champion. What do you think about this video? And can you briefly tell me what it's about?
I think the idea conveyed in this video is it's great, and because I think a lot of students, they dropped out because they feel they are not confident in their learning, and they feel they learn nothing, and if they learn nothing, it will become a vicious cycle that the student won't be motivated to keep learning, and if the teachers cannot encourage their students, and the students will feel low self-esteem, and so I think the speaker in this video just delivered a speech that tell us we have how we encourage the students and make them feel like they're champion in a field, and that can encourage the students to keep learning. And yeah, and in my experience, I think it is really true. When I was a child, I think I kept learning because I got full marks in every test when I was in first grade. It is not because I like what I learned. For example, I'm not very interested in learning math or Mandarin in elementary school, but I get a good grade, and when I get good grade, I just feel like I'm good at it. So I want to keep learning it, and I don't want to have a bad grade next time. So I think every student they need to find something that can stimulate their confidence, that can build their confidence in the subject. And even though they are not good at maybe at math or science, I think that is not. I think that is not the problem. Is not because the students are not smart, or they are not working hard. I just think because they cannot find why they have to learn it, and they don't find connection between these subjects. So a good relationship between teachers and students is very important. And if the teacher can build the confidence for their students, I think the student will have a better academic performance in the future.
Okay, yeah, very interesting. And I think something that she said really struck me is that she said that students don't learn from people they don't like, right? So even if you're a teacher, you don't just teach, you need to find, I think a teacher needs to find the best method for each student, which is very hard if it's a big classroom, but because each student, they learn in a different way.
Yeah, and I think in my experience of learning coding, I have to examples that can be comparisons. And when I was in third grade, I think third grade or fifth grade at elementary school, and that is the first Windows 95 or 98 emerged in the world, and I was very interested in computers, so I asked my mom to let me learn coding when I was in I think it's maybe fifth grade. Yeah, and my mom's colleague's husband, who is an engineer, and he started a class to teach some students coding when I was in elementary school, but I just felt I'm not. But after I think about 2 or 3 classes lessons, I felt it was so boring, and and I couldn't I couldn't know why I have to learn that, and there wasn't any motivation for me to keep learn coding. But now, after I think maybe now after 20 years now, I started to learn coding since last year, and I found it is so interesting. And I don't think that it's because I grew up. I just think the ways the teacher teach coding is very different, and I can learn why the education in the US is so different from Taiwan, because I joined a coding class called Stand Code, and the teacher in this class was graduated from Stanford University, and he took the coding class, the materials, and how Stanford teach their students coding. He moved all these materials and the methods to Taiwan, and so I joined this lesson, and we just begin with we begin this lesson in kind of games and the puzzles. We try to unravel some puzzles by coding, and so from these beginnings, I just felt the essence of coding is not to learn very difficult grammar in some coding language like Python or like C language. From the first 2 or 3 classes from these coding games, I learned the essence of coding is some logistic thinking, and that was so interesting. And then we start learn some more detailed syntax from these games, and this is coding material from Stanford, and that is why I think how a teacher or a class can encourage their student learning. And because from these materials, I learned to use some simple codes to solve some interesting problems. So I feel very a sense of accomplishment after I can solve each problems, even though it took me maybe about 5 to 8 hours to solve one problem. But that is why I think coding is very interesting. But when I was in elementary school, and the teacher told us using coding to do some mathematics, like to made the simple calculators, and but I don't think that is interesting for elementary school students. Yeah, so that's why I think how a teacher motivate their student it's the most important in education.
Right. Yeah. It's about your attitude, I think it's not about how much you know. It's about if you're willing to learn, or if you're interested enough that you can learn, the ability to learn. So talking about why kids drop out, There could be a lot of different reasons for that, like poverty, or they just don't want to come to class, negative peer influence. What do you think is the biggest impact on dropout rates? And if there's one thing that you can do, what do you think can help to lower the dropout rates?
I just think, for me, I don't think dropping out is bad. So what I think is, what you do if you drop out from a school. So I think the problem is kids dropped out from school. They actually did nothing, or they did they just spend their time in something that cannot help them in the future. For example, Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, they dropped out from university, but they have a good, they build up a new company and become entrepreneurs in the future. That is because they know what they want to do after they dropped out from school, and they did something that can help them to make something innovative. But a lot of kids, they drop out just because they don't know the meaning of learning. So after they drop out, they just, like, sometimes they become couch potatoes, or addicted to drugs and computer games, and that cannot help them in the future, and cannot them to get a work skill for them to make them can survive in our societies. So yeah, so I just think in the country, I think in our educational systems, they need to focus on why students want to drop out, and they need to, and I don't think our education system could not just focus on the number of dropping out. They need to find the reasons, because the number, I don't think it is important, because sometimes students, they dropping out because they want to pursue some more meaningful things in the world. I think that is okay. But if they're dropping out because they don't like school, or they don't want learning, I think that is a problem. And our system needs to solve this problem, and to find out why they don't want to go to school, because poverty, or because they be bullied in the schools, or something else. So I think that we need to see this problem in this way, and to solve this problem in this way, not just only to focus on the numbers.
Right. And then, so one thing that's also important is the motivation, right? Why don't they want to be in school? Because they're not interested, or it might not even be the thing that they're learning, they're not interested, but it's more of the whole environment, right? They just don't want to be there. Okay. George Washington Carver says all learning is understanding relationships. And James Comer says that no significant learning can occur without a significant relationship. What is your interpretation of these quotes, and which one do you agree with?
I think I agree with these quotes, because I think people live in our society, and they learn from other people's, not only the teachers, but from friends, or from colleagues. And I think if we do not have a good relationships with these people, and then it will be very difficult for us to learn from each other, because if we don't be, for example, if I don't have a good relationship with my senior colleagues in my department, and they will be reluctant to teach me the skills I need in clinical practice, and that makes a lot of problems. And sometimes, even though they want to tell you something, but if you don't have a good relationship and you are not you do not trust them, and how do you know what they tell you is is right, or they just want to harm, they just want to mislead you in something. Yeah, so I think a relationship of trust and is very important for not only a student but everyone, for learning everything from others.
Right. Yeah, from others. So it's important who you're learning from, and if the knowledge that they provide to you is correct or with some reliability, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think it's important how this relationship you form with your child?
Yeah, I think, yeah, it is true. As I told you, that when I was in elementary school, I feel, yeah, I feel I'm good at academic, academic, like academics like math or Chinese. So so it's a motivation for me to keep learning when I was since elementary school. So I think it's really important, and every student, they need to build their self-esteem. Not if they are not good at math, I think it's okay, but they need to find something else, for like sports or music. And if they find something that they're good at, and then they will spend more time on learning it, like learn music or practice in sports, and it will be a positive cycle for them to keep learning and to be more professional in that field. So yeah, so I think it is important.
Great. How do I raise the self-esteem of a child and his academic achievement at the same time? So which one do you think is more important? Or can you explain the importance of each? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is self-esteem and how important is academic achievement? I think you can talk about a little bit about what you thought when you were a child and what you think now as a parent.
I think self-esteem is more important, because and academic achievement, it builds on good self-esteem of a child. So not only academic achievement, but I think in every field, like in sports and music. So the first thing for a child is to build their self-esteem. And I think the parents and teacher could not make the child feel like they are not worthy live in the world. They need to make them feel like they're good, and but they can be better. So yeah, so in this way, a child can find something they really like and to develop their interests in the future. I think academic achievement just only one dimension in our world, but there are a lot of different dimensions in our world. So people can find their positions, not only to be a doctor or lawyer. It's obviously this kind of position they need very good academic achievement, but there are still other important jobs or position in our society. They may be not need a good academic achievement, but they need other features and or qualities of a person. So I think self-esteem is the base of everything. Not only so academic achievement is only a dimension among our societies, but all of these dimensions are based on a good self-esteem of being a human. So that's why I think.
Yeah, definitely. I think self-esteem, it's something that kids usually lack. And especially when I'm teaching English, I think a lot of the times, even adults, they have problems with their self-esteem because they're not confident enough with either it's the language, or if they're unsure about something, then usually they lack confidence as well. And it affects their performance. Yeah, so definitely something that I think in the Asian culture is something that needs to be encouraged more than in Western societies, because it's something that I think how the Western culture is, they're very confident about themselves. So they will say more than what they can do. And it's the opposite in Asia.
Yeah. A friend told me that he is an American, and he said that his South Americans are shameless.
Shameless.
Yeah, but
that's an extreme. Depends on who.
Yeah, but it's he just joking. But I think what he means is that they are not afraid of express themselves, even though they know that might not right, but they'd like to try. And but I think they are more concentrate on logic thinking behind their ideas, even though these ideas might not right, or it's based on something something wrong, or not the most updated knowledge. But it is how they infer their conclusions, not is the knowledge or idea is right or not.
Yeah. So a colleague said to me one time, they don't pay me to like the kids. They pay me to teach a lesson. The kids should learn it. I should teach it. They should learn it. Case closed. Well, I said to her, kids don't learn from people they don't like. So we talked a little bit about this. Do you think that it does affect their ability to learn, or is it just their attitude that is affected?
I think yeah, I think for teacher, although we pay them to teach our child our children. It's not only teaching, because like the speaker said, teach that children will learn from a teacher if they like the teacher. If they don't like the teacher, they don't want to hear from you, and they don't want to listen what you said. Yeah. So I think it is not only for kids, but also for adults. Yeah. For example, if I don't like a politician, I don't want to listen to his or her speech. Yeah, so I will never learn from what he said, or I will always oppose what he said. Yeah.
Opposed to what he says. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think it is true. It's a relationship. So if you want to communicate to everyone, I think teaching is also a kind of communications between students and teacher. And sometimes teacher can also learn from their students or children. Yeah.
Okay. Right. So how do I raise the self-esteem of a child and his academic achievement at the same time?
I think we repeat
this one,
these problems.
Right.
Yeah.
So one year I came up with a bright idea. I told all my students, you were chosen to be in my class because I'm the best teacher and you're the best students. They put us all together so we could show everyone else how to do it. So she said that she gave the quiz, 20 questions, and then he missed 18. So he did a +2 and a big smiley face. What's the difference? Because this is something that when she said it, I'm like, this is another way of representing this paper, this test, right? What do you think about this method that she did? And how do you think it will affect the student if he goes off to other classes or when he goes off to other schools?
I think that it depends on the qualities of the students. Yeah, so for example, I think these students maybe have a low self-esteem. So this is a very good method to help the student to build their confidence in studying. Yeah, but if the students they have a very high self-esteem, or they're not care about this, I think they will think that so I don't have to learn, because even though I just get 2, my teacher think that is okay. So I think there are 2 different explanation in students. So I think teachers need to observe their students and to see what kind of student it is. Yeah, for example, if when I was in junior high school, and I really care about my grade. So if I just get about 90, even though my teacher told me that is a good grade, I just think that is not good enough, and I will feel very I would feel very depressed if I just got 90 in a midterm exam. So that is me in junior high school. So if a teacher just drew a smiley face on my quiz, I think that is I will think why the teacher is satisfied with this kind of grade. So I think, but I think for a student, like if they're not good at academics and they have low self-esteem, it is really a great method to encourage the student to keep learning and to listen to the teacher in the class.
Okay, that's interesting way of how you put it. So you're a overachiever. You want to get 100, or you want to achieve the best grade attainable. It's more of your style.
Yeah, and yeah, so I think it depends on the quality of the students, and I think there may be also some students they are not care about their grades, and they don't care about how teachers feeling, and they might just feel like that. Oh, wow, the teacher is very nice, and I do not need to be very hardworking in the class, and I can pass. So they will not try their best, or try to have effort in this class. So I think so the teacher need to observe the quality of students. They might be very different.
Okay, yeah. So based on maybe how each kid their personality, right?
Yeah.
So every child deserves a champion adult who will never give up on them, who understands the power of connection and insists that they become the best that they can possibly be. I think it's very strong. These are very strong words for her to say this. I think it's very inspiring, and the way she says it. So how important, or let me ask you, what do you think about what she says here in the end? What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think as a teacher, I think it is important to demonstrate that they are always be open to their students. So I think that is what the speaker wants to deliver in this speech. So yeah, so she said that you need to show the student that you will never give up them, and you will always be open to communicate with them, to build a connection with them. Although some students, they might be they might not want to have some connection with their teachers, or they are not trust their teacher in the beginning. But this is the posture that the teacher need to demonstrate to their student. So you will know that maybe one day a student that was a student did not want to talk with you. Suddenly, he or she want to talk to have a discussion with their teacher because they made some problems, or they really don't know who can talk, but they know you are always be open to them, so they will find you. So I think that is very important for a teacher to show their students you can have a talk, discuss with them, and you are always be open to hear from their problems. So yeah, so just open a door for your student.
Okay, as a parent, do you wish your child to be more have a higher self-esteem, or achieve better academically, and why?
I think self-esteem is more important. Like as I said, that academic achievement is only one dimension in our society, but there are also a lot of different things.
Yeah, but that is that even though there are a lot of other things, that is what academically or systematically it is based on from when we're at a very young age. So as a parent, you don't think it matters it should matter, but it does matter, right?
Yeah, and I think it's also a problem in Taiwan that we see academic achievement is the highest in our education. Yeah, but I think we need to let our children to know if they find something else interesting, if, for example, if they want to play basketball or baseball and they think, or they want to be artists, it's okay. You need to try.
Okay, so you're more of saying that they don't necessarily have to excel in school, but they need to have a sort of skill.
Yeah, and but I think as a parent, I need to let my children to know how to succeed in academics, and I can teach them, but they want to be I can teach them and they can learn, and if they like it, if they like math or like science, and it's great. But if I teach them they don't like it, I think they make their choice. So I think the most important is they need to have the chance to choose. So it is not you don't teach them anything, or do not show them anything. Just let them to try it in the world or in the school, and no one guide them. So parents have to guide them to but they can make their own choice.
Okay, yeah. Then I think you're a very modern parent. Okay, right. So I think I really enjoyed this video that I wanted to share with you guys today. So hopefully Elle can also take a look at our discussion here. And for next week, if you have time, watch the video, because I think Elle probably will, but let me know if you don't have time, so that maybe I can ask her to also wait until the class to watch it together.
Okay.
Okay, then remember, class will be from 8:30.
Yeah, okay. So I just thought because I didn't know when the class when it's the class, so I just read the very old email last year and from that email,
Wait, I've been sending you emails all this week. Have you not gotten my emails?
I got the email, but it didn't show the time of the class.
I sent you a calendar invite. Do you have another email or
calendar advice? No.
Yeah, they're a Google Calendar invite. I sent it to everyone, but you didn't accept it, so I'm not sure if it's
maybe I just I forgot to accept it. So so I just I searched for a very old email, and the class on Wednesday was 9. So I just thought, maybe 9.
Okay, well, drop me a message next time. Okay. Thanks, 7. Then I'll see you next week.
Okay, bye-bye.